Hello, families. Welcome back to our Eduversity series where we help expand your perspective with books about diversity and cultural differences. My name is Mrs. Shubeck, and today I will be reading the book Ablaze with Color I'm so sorry, let me double check who it's by Jean Walker Harvey. Um, and I am so excited to share this book with you because this book has helped open my heart and mind by showing me that even when the world around us is unjust, we can do little things to make a difference and make things better in the way they should be within our home or within our community. And that many years later, this can have a huge impact upon the world at large. My hope is that you will find your own personal message in this book. I am going to share my screen and share Ablaze with Color with you. And I was so excited to find this book at the library because I had never heard of Alma Thomas, and she is an amazing person and a role model for me. And I can't believe I had never heard of her. Ablaze with Color, a story of painter Alma Thomas. I want to read the dedication to you too. One sec, let me move this. Former President Barack Obama's words at a White House event honoring Black History Month in 2015. Now, as always, this month is a chance to celebrate the central role that African Americans have played in every aspect of American life. And here at the White House, we're committed to honoring that legacy. Earlier this month, we opened up the newly restored Old Family Dining Room, and it now includes a painting by Alma Thomas called Resurrection, and that's the first in the White House collection by an African American woman. First Lady Michelle made that happen, and we could not be prouder. And that is courtesy of the Barack Obama Presidential Library. Through color, I have sought to concentrate on beauty and happiness, rather on man's inhumanity to man. And those are Alma Thomas's words from 1970. I hope you enjoy the book. Let's get started. Alma always felt her best when she was outside, soaking up the sparkling colors of nature. In the garden at her house, on a hill, she skipped around circles of flowers, pastel purple violets and crimson roses, crowned by bright green banana leaves. She fell back on the grass beneath poplar trees and gazed at quivering yellow leaves that whistled in the wind. Alma waded in the blue hues of a brook and basked in the warm glow of sunsets. Alma was always on the go, never wanting to sit or cook or sew like her three younger sisters. She wanted to make things, things that she could hold. Alma scooped up moist red clay from the banks of the nearby stream. She shaped small bowls and cups to dry in the sizzling sun. Inside her house, Alma's world was also full of color and creativity. Her mother designed dazzling dresses, singing as she sewed. Her aunts painted petals and patterns, and Alma dipped her brush in tiny pots. Although Alma felt joy at home, she and her sisters were sad that they couldn't attend the school just 2 doors away, the white school, and they couldn't enter museums or the town library. So Alma's parents filled their home with books and created their own place of learning. They invited teachers into their living room to talk about people and places around the world, famous stories and ways of thinking. Even though Alma didn't understand all that was said by the grown-ups, she watched and listened. When Alma turned 15 and couldn't attend the local high school, her family decided to move to the north, away from the injustices of the South. After the train crossed the state border, Alma's mother told her girls to take off their shoes and shake out the Georgia sand and never go back again. The family moved into a house in Washington, D.C., where Alma would live for most of her life, a house with a flower garden, a patch of nature that always made her happy. When Alma grew up, she studied art in college. She chose to share her love of art by teaching at the local school. But even in the nation's capital, schools were still segregated and access to art limited. Alma was determined to bring art to the young in her neighborhood, just as her parents had brought learning into her home when she was young. Alma invited children into her living room and taught them to make wooden marionettes. They performed their own plays when they weren't allowed to see puppet shows downtown. In her free time, Alma painted, studied, and shared ideas with artist friends. Sometimes their work was exhibited together. Mainly, though, she devoted herself to helping children, leading field trips and art clubs, and setting up the city's first gallery in a school. Finally, when Alma was almost 70 years old, she stopped teaching and focused on her own art. Sitting in her favorite red chair, she stared at the patterns of light and color twinkling through the leaves of her holly tree, just as she had watched the fluttering leaves of the poplar trees when she was a young girl. Inspired by what she saw, Alma began painting in a new style: circles and stripes, dashes and dabs, ablaze with color. Soft colors, bright colors. She created colors and patterns she remembered from her childhood days in the South and from what she saw now at her favorite park nearby. She painted how she felt on the inside when she experienced nature outside: the wind, the sunshine, the flowers. How nature made her heart sing and dance, even when life could be hard and unjust. Alma imagined soaring high in an airplane, even though she had never been in one. Gardens and trees below became streaks and smudges. Amazed by space travel, new at the time, Alma envisioned traveling aboard rockets with astronauts. The starry sky and zooming spaceships glimmered and as dashes and swatches. Galleries began showing Alma's new artwork, and then the unexpected happened. The Whitney, a famous art museum in New York City, features Alma's paintings of Earth and space, the first solo show by a Black woman. Thrilled by the honor, Alma greeted crowds gathered at the museum, a place where everyone could visit. Later that year, the Corcoran Gallery of Art, a large museum in DC, also showcased her paintings. The mayor proclaimed September 9th as Alma Thomas Day to celebrate Alma, her art, and all she had done for the city's youth. Sadly, Alma didn't live to see the momentous day when the first Black president and First Lady chose Alma's painting as the first artwork by a Black woman to be displayed in the White House, the home of the president's family and a symbol of the American people. Alma's art shimmered above a long table in the old family dining room of the White House, where famous leaders, teachers, and artists gathered, just as people had gathered in Alma's childhood home, just as children had gathered in Alma's DC house. In Alma's piece, yellow dashes twirl, circles upon circles swirl, orange, red, purple, blue, a soft, quiet center, a green of nature, a painting of hope and joy, ablaze with glorious color, Alma's colors. Thank you so much for listening. I want to share the author's note with you, and then I have some questions for you. Author's note: when I learned that Alma Woodsey Thomas's 1966 abstract painting titled Resurrection was chosen as the first artwork by a Black woman to be added to the White House Permanent Collection, I immediately knew I wanted to share Alma's exceptional life and art by writing a children's book about her. Former First Lady Michelle Obama explained that she and former President Barack Obama, the first Black U.S. president, chose contemporary art because they believed life in the White House could be forward-leaning without losing any of its established history and tradition. I greatly admire Alma's dedication to both of her careers as an arts educator for children and as an artist. Despite the challenges of discrimination, she approached her life with the conviction that we can't accept any barriers, any limitations of any kind on what we create or how we do it. Alma often explained that the use of color in my paintings is of paramount importance to me. She believed colors are the children of light, and light reveals the spirit and living soul of the world. Whenever I see Alma's artwork, my spirits are lifted. I'm deeply grateful that I had the opportunity to write about her inspiring life and paintings ablaze with joyous color. And the illustrator's note is: Alma's harmonious work expresses the way we imagine beauty and joy through vibrancy. Like her, I believe that through color, we discover our own inner truth, liberation, and happiness. And in these pictures, you can see this is a portrait of Alma Thomas, or a photograph of Alma Thomas. I can't read what year it's from. And then over here it says Blast Off by Alma Thomas, acrylic on canvas. This is from 1970. And this is in the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum. And then down here, this is so cool. This is the White House Old Family Dining Room, featuring Resurrection by Alma Thomas, acrylic and graphite on canvas, 1966, courtesy of Barack Obama Presidential Library, official White House photo by Amanda Lucidin. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I hope you enjoyed this book. And I have a few questions for you. The first question is, how how are you similar to Alma? What happens in your house that celebrates learning and reading and growing the way that Alma's family brought important people to share with her? So how is that similar to you? That's question number one. Question number two, what in nature inspires you? She talked about the leaves on the tree and the wind. What in nature inspires you? And last but not least, how will you use Alma's story to make an impact upon your community? How will you use Alma's story and the way that she's dedicated most of her life to helping children have similar experiences to her? How will you use her story to make the world around you a better place? Thank you so much for listening with me. I love you all, Panamilia, and I hope you have a wonderful day and enjoy learning more about Alma Thomas.